Rams Nation, hold your breath because the front office might be preparing a massive move that could change our entire outlook for this season. We all know that after OTAs, the real work starts. But a major uncertainty has just emerged regarding our offensive line depth and that starting left tackle spot. Could a familiar veteran face be the missing piece to protect our quarterback and keep our championship dreams alive? There is a serious situation developing that you need to know about right now. Before we dive into these potential roster updates, smash that like button, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. As the Los Angeles Rams wrap up their organized team activities, the focus shifts toward the upcoming training camp. History shows that this specific period is often utilized by the front office to evaluate the current roster and address lingering gaps that could impact the upcoming season. In previous years, these post-OTA evaluations have led to impactful signings like Akello Witherspoon and Demarcus Robinson, proving that the team is willing to act when a necessity arises. Currently, the most prominent questions facing the organization involve the depth at wide receiver 3 and the stability of the offensive line. Specifically, the status of Alaric Jackson has become a talking point following his recent arrest, which has naturally introduced uncertainty at the critical left tackle position. With the season approaching, the team must weigh whether to proceed with current personnel or look to the open market for a more reliable alternative. The primary objective is to ensure that quarterback Matthew Stafford is protected, but the available options must be measured against the existing salary cap limitations. As the team navigates these decisions, fans continue to chant "Ram it" in anticipation of a roster that can compete at the highest level. The potential need to replace Alaric Jackson has brought the name Taylor Decker to the forefront of discussions. Taylor Decker is a seasoned veteran with 10 years of experience, all spent with the Detroit Lions. While the Rams are currently monitoring the legal situation surrounding Alaric Jackson, the prospect of securing a veteran like Taylor Decker provides a clear, albeit costly, solution. However, this is not just about filling a spot. It is about finding a player capable of holding down the starting role for an entire season. The pursuit of Taylor Decker presents a complex financial and strategic challenge for the Rams. After spending a decade as a cornerstone for the Detroit Lions, Taylor Decker remains the most viable left tackle option available on the market. It is important to note that the Lions made a deliberate decision not to retain him this past offseason, as they were hesitant to commit to his $20 million price tag. Negotiations stalled when the two sides could not agree on a pay cut, leading to his current status as a free agent. From a performance standpoint, Taylor Decker did experience a decline last year while returning from a shoulder injury. His pass blocking grade from Pro Football Focus settled at 69.5, which is nearly 10 points lower than his production in the previous 2 seasons. Furthermore, he allowed 28 quarterback hurries, marking his highest total since 2018. Despite these recent statistics, he is widely regarded as the best left tackle option currently waiting for a team. The connection between Taylor Decker and Matthew Stafford is another layer to this situation. Having played together in Detroit starting in 2016, the two share a well-documented rapport. When Matthew Stafford was traded, he personally informed Taylor Decker, highlighting the closeness of their professional relationship. While previous signings like Jonah Jackson demonstrate that familiarity does not guarantee success, the established chemistry between these two veterans remains a factor. Why does this matter right now for the team? Because the left tackle position is the most vital protector of the franchise quarterback. If the league determines that Alaric Jackson has violated the personal conduct policy, a suspension could leave the Rams vulnerable during a crucial part of the season. If the Rams decide that Taylor Decker is the right answer to their offensive line concerns, they face a significant hurdle regarding the financial reality of their current cap space. According to estimates from SpotTrack, the market value for a veteran of his caliber is roughly $21.3 million. While it is unlikely that he will command that specific figure at this late stage of the offseason, even a reduced salary in the range of $15 million would require the organization to adjust their books. Currently, the team has approximately $18.9 million available for the remainder of the season. Signing Taylor Decker would necessitate moving some contracts or making additional roster adjustments to create the necessary flexibility. The team must weigh this investment against other potential needs, such as the search for a third wide receiver. Stefon Diggs has been mentioned as an intriguing possibility in that regard, as he remains an immediate upgrade over Xavier Smith. Despite playing only 52% of offensive snaps for the New England Patriots last season, Stefon Diggs recorded 85 catches for 1,045 yards while recovering from an ACL injury. His ability as a deep threat is unmatched, as he led the NFL with a 72.7% success rate on deep targets. However, the priority must remain the integrity of the offensive line. If the team concludes that Alaric Jackson is not a safe bet to start, the financial gymnastics required to sign Taylor Decker become a necessity rather than a luxury. The organization is working behind the scenes on multiple fronts, including potential deals for other key players, making every dollar of cap space a precious commodity in the months ahead. While the search for a left tackle focuses on Taylor Decker, the Rams also have to consider the alternative of internal solutions. If the goal is simply to secure insurance behind Alaric Jackson, rather than finding a new starter, Joe Noteboom remains a viable candidate within the building. Joe Noteboom has served in various capacities on the line and understands the system, providing a safer, less expensive fallback option. This contrasts sharply with the potential addition of Taylor Decker, who would strictly join the team to take over the starting left tackle duties. At 32 years old, Taylor Decker would provide immediate stability, but the team must be certain that his physical form has recovered sufficiently from his recent shoulder issues. The decision hinges on how the league and the organization view the timeline for Alaric Jackson. As it stands, the team would prefer to enter the regular season with Alaric Jackson in his designated role. However, the uncertainty surrounding potential discipline makes it impossible to ignore the need for a contingency plan. The Rams are not in a position to let the left tackle spot become a revolving door. Because there are not many quality starting caliber tackles sitting on the market, the window to secure a player like Taylor Decker is limited. If they wait too long, they risk being left with no viable options should the situation with Alaric Jackson deteriorate. The front office is likely running simulations on what the roster looks like with or without him. The goal is to avoid a scenario where the protection of Matthew Stafford is compromised. Bringing in a veteran of 10 years would bring an immediate professional standard to the group, even if it requires a difficult restructuring of current contracts to make the math work for the 2026 season. The path forward for the Rams is clear, but demanding. Between now and the opening of training camp, the evaluation of the roster will intensify. The potential signing of Taylor Decker remains tied to the internal discussions regarding Alaric Jackson. While there is no immediate pressure to sign a free agent today, the looming threat of a suspension forces the organization to keep their options open. The front office understands that the level of play at left tackle dictates the ceiling for the offense. By continuing to explore the availability of veterans, they ensure that the team is not caught off guard if the status of their current starter changes. Whether they ultimately decide to commit the necessary $15 million to bring in Taylor Decker, or choose to rely on the existing depth like Joe Noteboom, the objective remains the same: protecting the quarterback and maintaining a competitive edge. The team is aware that they have $18.9 million in space, and how they allocate those funds will define their readiness for the upcoming year. As they work through these challenges, the fans continue to support the squad, hoping that the necessary moves are made to bolster the line and the receiving core. The addition of a target like Stephon Diggs for the passing game, or a veteran wall like Taylor Decker for the protection of Matthew Stafford, would provide significant upgrades. Regardless of the specific outcome, the next few weeks will be pivotal for the team's construction. Everything depends on how the leadership addresses these identified holes before the real games begin. By keeping the lines of communication open and monitoring the market, the Rams remain in a position to act decisively whenever the time is right to pull the trigger.